All righty, let's go and let's get started. Welcome to the Saxon Show podcast, coming to you live from beautiful Medellin, Colombia. Guys, in today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to feel certain in a time of uncertainty. Now, whether you're watching live right now, whether you're watching the recording, basically my channel has been positioned where I'm gonna teach men how to become the best versions of themselves. I'm talking about when it comes to their wealth, their relationships, and when it comes to their self-image. So I've been studying with I studied with my mentor, Bob Proctor, who recently passed away for over 2 years. And at the age of 25 years old, I built a 7-figure coaching and consulting business, teaching entrepreneurs how to rewire their mind so they can go out there and earn the 6 and 7 figures in their business. And so in today's video, if you stay to the very end, it should be about 45 minutes or so. I'm going to be giving you guys the sauce of what I do in moments when the outside world is very uncertain. And what we're going to talk about is we're not talking about like what's going on in the war or what's going on in the other world. We're talking about what's going on in your world. I'm talking about maybe you positioning your business differently. You're creating content and it is not getting the results that you want. You're starting a new business and you're not getting the results that you want. Maybe you've been doing a business part-time and it hasn't been working out. Maybe you're in a relationship or you're trying to get into a relationship and it feels like you're falling flat on your face. You see, these are moments when the outside world begins to test us and we feel like we are uncertain. But there's things that we can do on the inside to make us feel certain, even though the outside world says that we are that we should feel uncertain. So that's going to be today's video. So without further ado, let's hop straight into the content. So even if you're a lady watching today's video, it's going to be okay. Like I said, I'm going to be tailoring a lot of the information towards men, but it's all very similar concept. So in today's video, what we're going to talk about really quickly and actually pull some data from is this book right here called The Way of the Superior Man. And I've been looking at this book and I was recommended it a couple years ago. But now that, like I said, I've been, diving deeper into how I can teach men how to apply the information that I've learned with Bob Proctor. I've been picking it up and reading it, and I think it's a really good chapter right here. And this chapter is titled this: "Be willing to change everything in your life." And so I'm going to read a little excerpt on this and how I think that we can apply it to our lives. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind and this really cool skill set that will make things feel a lot better for you. So I want to go ahead and read this passage because this is going to be like the basis of today's topic. It's only about two paragraphs, so bear with me here. As you dissolve each layer and move towards the center, and what he's talking about is we have an inner purpose. As a man, you have an inner purpose. We wake up, and you hear me talk about this. When we wake up as a man, we got to know where are we going. I think it was in episode 1 of the Saxon Show. We talked about having a goal and having a goal card, and that when we wake up, we're going to move in that direction, and everything that's an obstacle must fall apart, despite what's going on the outside, despite the resources, the money, the cash flow, whatever your body looks like, whatever the doctor said, whatever the relationships are, whatever's going on in your life, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a purpose. So what he's illustrating in this passage here is that you can actually see the purpose, and I'm going to draw this out in a second. I'm going to read this off, but I want you to see the purpose as a middle, and like an onion and having layers around it. I want you to visualize this, okay? As you dissolve each layer of an onion going towards your purpose and move towards the center, you will more and more be living from your deeper purpose and then your deepest heart purpose, whatever that is in every moment. However, you probably are not living your deepest purpose right now. You probably need to burn off the karma or fulfill the need of the present purpose by which you are fascinated and distracted. It is easy to feel disappointed by life. So hear me here. It's easy to feel disappointed by life, especially when the outside world says you're not good enough. And, the reason I created today's topic is because, I'm putting in a lot of work when it comes to this podcast and this YouTube channel. And one of the things is I'm very transparent. I'll be one of the most transparent guys that you guys see. And even though I have a purpose and I have a passion to grow this YouTube channel, at sometimes I feel a little bit of frustration, or I feel a little bit of like, I wouldn't say sadness, but a little bit of frustration or unknowingness or uncertainty, because I'm putting in the work and the effort and I feel like I'm doing everything right. But yet sometimes I feel like I should be having more views live, or I should be getting more views on my YouTube video. And so the outside world was trying to tell me, DeAndre, you should feel uncertain about your purpose. You should feel uncertain. It was like, it's like the outside world will get you to question, is this really what you want? And you see, you can't waver as a man. You have to have the vision, and it has to come from the heart. In a minute, when we talk about the conscious and the subconscious mind, it's got to be, your heart has to be involved in it. Because if only your mind's involved, the mind says, DeAndre, you only have 3 people watching you live. You're only getting 30 views per video. The mind says you're not good enough. Your show's not going to grow. Just stop right now. You see, that's what the mind would say, because the mind sees the uncertainty, but then the heart sees past that. It's a magnet that will begin to see far past what's in the 3D world of what's going on around you, and can get you past that. And that's what we're talking about here. So it's easy to feel disappointed by life. Success is never fulfilling as you think it's going to be, but there's a reason for this. Successfully completing a lesser purpose doesn't feel very good for very long, because it is simply preparation for advancing towards a greater embodiment of your deeper purpose. So listen to this here. Each purpose, and you can have multiple purposes. So let's just say right now you're 25 years old. You just moved to Miami or California or a major city, and you're starting your very first business, and you're earning less than $10,000 a month. So your main purpose would probably be scaling your business to getting to 10 grand a month, or scaling it to a point where you have a little bit of freedom, right? So, but then by the time you're 35 and maybe you have a wife or a kid on the way, your purpose might change, your vision might change. So that's what he's saying in this section here, is that your bigger purpose is like a layer of onions, and that each period of your life is like you're chopping away at your purpose, and it can begin to shift and change, and that's okay. Remember, what's the title of this chapter? The title of this chapter is Be Willing to Change Everything in Life. So listen to this. Each purpose, each mission is meant to be fully lived to the point where it becomes empty, boring, or useless. Then it should be discarded. This is a sign of growth. This is a sign of growth, but you may mistake it for a sign of failure. You see, what would this look like in context? So I built a 7-figure coaching and consulting business over about 2 years working under Bob Proctor. And I love it. I love the mindset material. I love being in personal development. It's absolutely changed my life. But then it got to the point where for about 9 months or so, I wasn't having as much fun as I really wanted. It became more of a job, more than having fun. Now, working with my clients and everything like that, that was fun. But I'm talking about the day-to-day actions of like putting out content and trying to grow, Facebook ads and all these kind of stuff to try to grow the business. That part of it became very not fun. And so when I transitioned literally about a week or two ago to the point where I said, I'm going to help men apply the principles that I learned from Bob Proctor to become better versions of themselves, I essentially moved into a new direction. I moved into a place of uncertainty. I moved into an unknown zone. I moved into what Bob calls a terror barrier. You see, I had success on this side, and so now I'm going to transition to something new, because that's what my heart says that I want to do. I want to get deeper with the community. I want to get deeper with an individual and not just teach conscious mind and subconscious mind. Like, we're going to get to that in a minute. But what good is teaching this if I can't help a specific person get a specific result? So that's when my heart said, DeAndre, why don't you help men get specific results? So you see in this layer, each purpose, each mission. So the last 2 years, I had a purpose, I had a mission. Right now, God has you on a purpose. God has you on a mission. And you might have success, and you might be kicking ass right now. Or you might be at the tail end of a certain fulfillment where it's not that motivating anymore. Or maybe you're in the third category where you've already transitioned into the new position and it's feeling a little uncertain. Maybe you're starting to putting out content. Maybe you got a new sales job. Maybe you're trying something new for the first time and you're not that good at it, and you're questioning, should you go back to the thing that was making you successful, or should you follow your heart despite what the outside world says that you're not that good, or you should be waver in your decision. And at that point, it becomes boring, useless, and monotonous. You see, this is not a sign of failure, my friend. This is a sign of growth, because you've moved on to the next layer. So what would this actually look like in this example if we were to illustrate this? So let's just say here, come on, pen. So let's just say we have our purpose right here. And that's our deep, deep purpose. I'm talking about the purpose that God put us on this earth for. And we want to see it as an onion. There's layers upon layers, and let each of these layers represent a new purpose in this period of your life. So that's what he's saying here. So let's just say this first layer is network marketing. Let's just say that's the business you started in when you were younger. So the first layer, when you were, 20 years old or something, you were starting in network marketing. And this was the thing that was driving you. You were getting up every single day, reading books, getting into personal development, and you bleeding, sweating tears of network marketing, or it could be a sport or an instrument, right? Something in your life when you were younger. But what happened was that represented this layer of your life. This is what consumed you at this level. But it was what you were supposed to do. It's what your heart was driving you towards. But then they'll get to a point where the thing that was driving you so hard isn't that motivating anymore. Maybe you're not getting the same level of success. Maybe it's not fun anymore. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it feels useless. And then you start to question yourself and you're like, should I continue doing this thing? It's been my heart for 2, 3, 4 years. And now I feel like I want to move to something else, but am I giving up my time? Am I losing all that energy and time and success that I've put in? I remember that's what I felt when I decided to leave my network marketing company after a year and a half, from 19 to 21 years old. I gave it everything I had. I dropped out of college and I busted my ass, literally 12-hour days for a year and a half straight. And I had some little bit of success. And I remember feeling almost guilty wanting to move on to the next phase of my life. And that's what he's saying in this article. As a man, we have to be able to shift our purpose. We have to be able to shift and know that, hey, am I giving up because it's too hard? And that could be mental, right? Being uncertain mentally. And you see the results that you're not getting. And your mental cognition says, I'm not getting results. I should quit. Or is your heart saying it's not positioned or postured for this purpose anymore? And that's a question that, as a man, you're going to start to develop, and what I'm imploring you to try to realize and teach you in this episode here. And so let's move on to the next one. The next phase is you moving to a new major city. For the first time, you're going to move out of your home. You're 22, 23 years old as a man, and now you're going to go out and move out of the house, move to a major city, and start your own business. It's like it's like a whole 360 or 180. You went from staying at your parents' house, maybe working a job, to moving to a major city and starting your very first business, either full-time or part-time. And so this is the next layer. And then you're out there and you're busting your ass and you're going after it. And then you just, right? Let's just say we give that a couple years and you're failing and boom, you finally strike success. Let this green line, let this layer represent success. For the first time, you start to achieve what would be called certainty or 3D world or physical success. You start to hit those $10,000 months or more. You start to manifest your dream partner, or you get a girlfriend that's in a loving relationship. Maybe you start dating more women and that's what you wanted. Maybe you start hanging out with new groups and you're in a really cool friend circle. Maybe you move into your very first apartment. It's your dream apartment, right? You start to see this outside layer of success for the first time. And you're going to ride that. Because for the first time, you're actually starting to see manifestations or physical success starting to come into play here. And let's just say you run that for another 2 to 4 years. And now here you are. It could be 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. And that same drive that brought you success, and it was a success you tasted for the first time. And you're going to start to feel boring. Not so fun. And your heart's going to want to move you in a new direction. But then this new layer is going to be different here. Let's color this layer blue. This new layer here is going to be very difficult for you as a man. Now, why is that? It's because you see at this layer at green, it was the first time you had success in your life. Whatever you define as success, whether it was a high-paying job or whatever, health, wealth, relationship, what we talk about. And now your mind is saying it's not fun anymore. And your heart's saying it's time for you to move. It's time for you to transition to something new, whether it's a new city, a new business. Maybe it's time for you to break up with your girlfriend, or maybe it's just, maybe it's time for you to stop dating so many women and focus on just one girl, right? There's so many different things that can happen. And you're going to move on to this next layer, and it can be very scary, very uncertain, because what will happen is, you see, let this first arrow here, you see your heart saying move towards that direction, but then there's your mind says go back to certainty, go back to what was making you successful, go back to the dating strategies that you were doing, go back to your girlfriend, go back to that business model, go back to your job, go back, because this part is unfamiliar, this part is uncomfortable, this feels uncomfortable. But see, as a man, we have to be able to distinguish the difference between a mental uncertainty and a heartfelt uncertainty. Does that make sense here? So that's what the author is saying in this level here. As a man, we have to be able to distinguish the difference between our purpose mentally and our purpose when it comes heartfelt. So what are some examples of what you could feel if you were going through this position in this transition period? You see, it is possible that with one layer of purpose, which you have now fulfilled, on the way to another layer of purpose, closer to your deeper purpose, among them, these are some of the things that you can feel. I'm going to highlight 2 right here. There's 5, but I'm going to highlight 2 for time purposes. Number 1, you suddenly have no interest whatsoever in a project or a mission that previously motivated you highly. You're no longer motivated for the thing that has caught your heart for a year, 2 years, 3 years of your life. And you see, this is what you can be feeling right now. You see, this is not a sign of failure. This is a sign of you moving to the next layer of your onion, going into something deeper. Because there's no growth if we stay in the same layer. And that's what I started to feel was I needed to grow. I needed to get out. For me, the passion was I wanted to help more people get deeper, more specific results. In order for that to happen, I needed 2 things: a specific avatar or a specific customer, and help them get a specific result. So in order for me to grow, I needed to go to a deeper layer. And so one thing you could feeling is this: you suddenly have no interest whatsoever in a project or mission that previously motivated you highly. The next thing, even though you may not have the slightest idea of what you're going to do next, you feel clear, you feel unconfused, and especially unburdened. Now, this is going to be the gist of what we're talking about in today's video, is the ability as a man to feel certain in times of uncertainty on the outside world. We have 2 worlds. All of us. We have an outside world and we have an inside world. One of the things I learned from my mentor, Bob Proctor, is that the outside world is a reflection of the inside world. If we change the inside world, the outside world will begin to shift. If we don't like what's going on the outside, we must change us. We can't change our partner. We can't change another person. We can't change the business, but we can change ourselves. And so what he's saying here is that it could be uncertain on the outside world, my friend. I'll bring this at home and be super transparent with you. And I love this, by the way. I love this because I've manifested so many things in my life. And I've been in periods like this that I know will get through it. And then I look back, right? If you guys ever seen those videos of me sleeping in my car or sleeping on my grandparents' couch or, all that stuff, is because I knew in those slight moments that I was going to make it and that it was good for me to document this so I could share it one day. And that's what this podcast is. We'll never have less than 3 people on a podcast before. So these numbers are so intimate. So shout out to the 3 of you watching live, because one day it'll be 3,000, 30,000, and it'll just be such a different energy at that point. But these moments I cherish. So right now it's like even this podcast. So when I wake up, it's like God's telling me that, DeAndre, you're in the right place. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You wake up, do your podcast, and create the best quality YouTube video that you can do every single day. So that's what my heart is saying. You see, that's the purpose that we talked about in this onion. That's a deeper purpose, or the layer that I'm running right now, that I'm in. But then the mind will look at the results and say, DeAndre, you only have 3 people live for the last 11 episodes. You could be failing right now, or you're not good enough, or people don't want to watch you, or maybe you should go back to doing what you were doing. You see, the mind says one thing, but the heart says another. And as a man, you have to be able to listen to that heart of yours. You have to be able to distinguish and know where you're at, and know that the heart will trump the mind, because the mind will lie to you, because the mind is connected to the outside world through your senses: see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And if you don't see the results, if you don't see that you're manifesting the dream girlfriend that you want, if you don't see the money starting to flow, if you don't see the subscribers, if you don't see the followers, if you don't see that you're getting more dates, if you don't see that your friend group is growing, it's so easy to just quit and go back to your old life, or not, but most importantly, go back to certainty. Even though you don't like it, you're going back to something that you know, and that's a no-no, bro. That is a no-no. You see, stay steadfast on your purpose despite what the outside world is saying. Let your heart drive you more than what your vision, or not your vision, but your physical vision, because it will lie to you. Your heart will never lie to you, because within your heart is God, is Jesus, and he will guide you, and he will listen to you, and he will speak to you. But the vision will lie to you. Okay? I want to leave you with a couple things, and then we're going to get into some actual application, how you can make this happen, and what I do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that I feel confident and secure. After completing one layer of purpose, you might not know what to do next in your life. See, after you've completed a layer, you may not know what to do. Your heart might be saying, maybe I should break up with this person. Your heart might be saying, maybe I should move to, San Antonio, Texas. Maybe your heart is saying, maybe you should start creating TikTok videos, whatever it could be, right? And you may not know how, but your heart is guiding you. And let me read this verbatim before I get too confused here. After completing one layer of purpose, you might not know what to do with your life. You know that the old project is over you, but you are not sure of what to do next. At this point, you must wait for a vision. As a man, you must wait for the vision. You have the purpose, but you have to have the vision. So what would this look like if we were talking about the body here? And we'll begin to the stick figure here in a second, but check this out. So let this upper circle, let it represent your conscious mind, right? So let it represent your conscious mind. Let this represent your subconscious mind. And let this represent your body, okay? So as a man, what will begin to happen is this is your heart. The Greeks called the subconscious mind the heart. And within this is where you're going to find your purpose. This is where you're going to find your purpose. And here is where you're going to have your vision. You see, but this vision is connected to your conscious mind. Your vision is connected to your conscious mind. Your vision is connected to your imagination. Your imagination is one of the faculties that you have within your conscious mind. So I want you to write this down. You have 2 types of mental faculties. One is spiritual faculties and other are physical faculties. What is a faculty? It's like an ability or a tool that you have in your mind. So spiritual faculties could be like perception, will, reason, imagination, memory, reason. If I said that already, those would be classified as spiritual tools, right? Because you can imagine yourself driving a car. You can reason, which is your ability to think. You have a memory. Those are spiritual faculties. But you also have physical faculties. That would be see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Because what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch allows you to take in what's in the outside world and internalize it and create information or data for you to think and create new thoughts and then create new actions so you can navigate your body through time and space. So what would this look like? So you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. I want you to see those as like little antennae. So let's just focus on this one here. Let's just say what you see. So your purpose says, let's start a podcast. You don't know why, you don't know where, but something says start a podcast. And you're so nervous, and maybe you don't act on it for 2 months. It took me like 2 months to get started with this podcast because I didn't have the data or this or that. And what if nobody came or whatever, right? There's always a mental reason why, right? That's that conscious mind coming back in. So let's just say you start your podcast and you start to, and by the way, the heart, this in this example, the purpose here is the podcast. So this is where the heart is. The heart says, move in this direction, move in this layer of the onion. But then you start to move it, and you're excited at first. You launch it, you launch that new business, you're in a new relationship, you start dating more girls, you start making more money. But then what you start to see may change after 2 months. And the outside world begins to not reinforce this purpose again. After 2 months, after 1 month, after a week, after a year. And it starts to get very tiresome, worrisome as a man, because your heart says do one thing, but then the outside world or your conscious mind, which is where you see, says something different. And this is a very, very scary time. And that's what he's saying here, is that you must wait for the vision. You must wait in this period here. You must wait. But don't just fill your time with distractions in this period of waiting. So for me, it'd be, I'm creating this content. Shout out to the 2 or 3 of you watching me live right now. And shout out to the, a few of you that are going to watch the recording. But in this example, for me, it's like I continue to do the podcast because it's my heart and something says it's going to work out. Keep creating the YouTube video and putting in the effort. Something says I'm going to get better and it's going to work out. But don't get distracted, and don't distract yourself during this period of uncertainty. Don't watch TV or play video games. Don't go out drinking beer with your friends every night. Don't start dating new girls, right? For some of us, we start dating new girls, right? Put the girls away during this period. Just simply wait. Don't try to fill your time with just random BS. As a man, sit and wait. You may wish to go on a retreat in a remote area and be by yourself. Whatever it is you decide to do, consciously keep yourself open and available to receiving a vision of what is next, and it will come. Am I saying sit on your couch and do nothing? No. You start to move in that direction. Start to peel back that layer of the onion. And even though you may not be seeing the fruits of the labor that your purpose has on your heart, keep moving. Keep acting. Don't act out of pure scarcity. Don't try to overwork it. But be calm in your movements and make calculated movements, and be steadfast and calm as you take these actions. So what would that look like? You see, as I grow my YouTube channel, I'm posting 1 video a day, sometimes 2 to 3 videos a day. So if I was panicking, or if I was coming from a scarcity mindset, which sometimes it does hit me, like I'm not perfect, guys. I'm documenting this. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But sometimes I might think, oh my gosh, my last video I posted this morning is only getting 20 views. I need to post another one that way that I can get more views, or maybe this one will go viral. You see that kind of thinking? That kind of thinking it's coming from scarcity. It's not coming from abundance. And so if I continue to think like that, I'm not allowing space for God to give me the vision. What I'm not to do is just sit on this couch. What I'm supposed to do is get up on this podcast, whether I have nobody watching me, or whether I have 5,000 watching me or 200 watching me, get up and do it. You'll get better at it. You'll get feedback. The quality will be better. You'll figure it out. You see, even though I'm still waiting for a vision, I'm waiting for the manifestation for everything to come together. I'm not sitting on my butt. You see the difference here. But then again, I'm not overworking myself either. I'm not sitting on a podcast and doing 1 a day for 10 hours and trying to overwork and overstimulate, or produce 5 YouTube videos per day and overcompensate coming from lack and scarcity. I'm doing what I should be doing at the best of my ability, while I'm consciously aware that God is producing a vision and working on me in this moment. When it comes, the vision, When this vision comes, it usually won't be a detailed vision. You will probably have a sense of what direction to move in, but the practical steps might not make themselves clear. When the impulse begins to arise, act on it. Don't wait for the details. Learn by trial and error and what it is that you are supposed to do. This, to bring that in, what does that look like in your life? I think I can try to come up with theoretical examples, or I can just share transparently what I'm doing in this. And when it comes to this idea that he's sharing in this book, that's what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. It could be up to 100 episodes. I don't know. But let's pray it happens faster. It could be up to 100 episodes before something really pops off. But what does he say here? You'll have a vision. So you start to say, hey, it's time for me to move to a new city. It's time for me to move out of my house. It's time for me to start that part-time business. It's time for me to hire that coach. It's time for me to do something, right? There's something on your heart. And you get this slight vision, but you may not know how in the step-by-step. You may not have the money. You may not have the connections, the resources, the body, the stamina, the confidence, the subscribers, the following, the money, whatever it is. You may not have it, but you have a slight vision. Act on it. Act on that vision. Start to move into it and learn by trial and error. And as you start to move your body through space and begin to take action, the layer will unveil itself. The layer will unveil itself. One of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs is, you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect the dots moving backwards. Therefore, you must trust that the dots will connect moving forward. So let me repeat that one more time. So let's just say this is a linear line. This is a linear line. So let's just say, let's change the color. So let this blue X, let that represent goal. Let this green one here, let that represents now, your current state. So what Steve Jobs is saying in this example, and what we just read from this article, is that as a man, we can't not connect the dots moving forward. We don't know how we're going to achieve our purpose. Steve Jobs says, we cannot connect the dots moving forward. But here's what we can do, is we can connect the dots looking backwards. Well, what would that look like? So we look and we see that here was a place. I needed to start this business. I needed to have this girlfriend. I needed to date this woman. I needed to have this amount of money. I needed to move to this major city, right? Whatever it was. I needed to do X, Y, Z. And because I did that, it allowed me to get to this new place where I'm at now. See, you cannot connect the dots moving forward, but you can connect the dots looking backwards. Therefore, we must trust. That this line will also connect us to our goal, because it did that looking backwards. You see, that's how we begin to feel certainty in a time where things are uncertain. Is that making sense? It feels as if, actually, I'm going to do this with you. Actually, no, I'm going to leave you at that. Yes. So this sounds all good and dandy. To feel confident in a time where things don't feel like you're going your way. But how can we start to differentiate this? And how can we, in certain moments, begin to recondition our body and calm ourselves when we feel like things are not going our way? You see, to be honest, like today was a tough day for me. Because I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the energy, I have the vision, but I feel like I can't say that I should be getting results, because you can't should, or I would have it. But I feel like I want to be getting better results when it comes to the amount of views I'm getting per video, especially the amount of energy and time I'm putting into it, especially when I feel like I have like really good knowledge that can help people. But the YouTube algorithm, or whatever, the outside world in this example, says that I'm not that good enough. Now, as a man, I have to take that as a sign that I need to get better. Jim Rohn says, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Or in his words, wish you were better. Right? I love Jim Rohn. He's one of the best speakers. So that was tough for me today because the outside world was saying, damn, DeAndre, you got to make another video for the potential to only get 20 views on it. Bust your ass for 3 hours, 4 hours just to get 20 views. That's what the outside world was saying. And it got to me. But I couldn't bring that energy back to this podcast. I couldn't bring this energy back to the next video that I make. Because if not, then I'm going to retreat. My mind will cause me to retreat back to my safe zone, back to my uncertainty, even though it may not be what I want. It's something that I know, something that is safe, even though it may not be getting the results that I want, because I'm in a zone of terror. I'm in a zone of unknown, or I am in a zone of uncertainty. My heart is pulling me towards a direction. And I want you to, when I say me, put you in here. Our heart is pulling us in a direction that we've never been before. And our mind starts to question if that's the real thing that we should do, because the outside world is not validating the feelings that we have. Is that making sense for you? Is that making sense for you? Let's do this in white. I like the color white. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave you with these this concept here. And on the next call, we're going to get into some strategies to actually implement this. So in our conscious mind, I want you to know that the conscious mind is electrical. The conscious mind is electrical. Electrical means that it can send out a signal. It sends out a signal that can be picked up on by the universe, and it's called the law of attraction. The conscious mind is electrical. So what would that mean like? What would that look like? See, the mind is gets very good at choosing specific results in the future. The conscious mind is really good at choosing specific results that you want in the future. That's saying, I want to have 1 million YouTube subscribers. I want to have a girlfriend. I want to earn 10 grand a month. I want to have rock hard abs. I want to have X, Y, Z. So the conscious mind has the ability to select what you want. You can select from the infinite amount of frequencies. I don't know if I've taught the law of vibration to you guys, but maybe I'll do it on another call. But via the law of vibration, we can select the things that we want. You see, you don't have to be a millionaire physically to be a millionaire in your mind. You can close your eyes and start to imagine yourself being a millionaire. That's an example of this mind here, the electrical mind, because it can select a specific result in the future that you are a millionaire. But that's not good enough. There's something else that needs to happen in this example, and that's getting the heart involved. Because the heart, or in this example, the subconscious mind, is magnetic. And what magnetic means is that it draws back. Your mind can select a specific frequency. Say that you want to earn $35,000 a month. So you can select that. You can imagine yourself driving that car, living in that house, the clothes that you would have, the school your kids would go to, the kind of lifestyle you would have, right? You can start to imagine it. But what needs to happen is you need to get your heart involved with it as well and start to magnetize it, or start to act and feel the wish fulfilled. You have to start to feel it here in your heart. That's a heart. You have to start to feel it right here in your heart and magnetize it back to you. You see, for many of us, we fall into one of these two categories. We either really good with our mind and selecting what we want, Or we're really good at feeling gratitude, but the things that we start to magnetize back to us are not that specific, or they're kind of sporadic, like a shotgun. You see, what we need to do is we need to be here, right in the middle, where we are sending out electromagnetic signals. What does that look like? We have a purpose, and then we also start to feel as if the wish is fulfilled, or feel as if it's done, so we can magnetize it back to us, because we only attract that which we are in harmony with, what our heart and our feelings are in harmony with. So you see how the discrepancy can begin to happen, that if you have a purpose, let's just say your purpose is to get to 35,000 a month, or to have whatever I said, any kind of example here. You can see it in your mind, but if you don't actually start to feel as if it is done, you'll always be in the cycle of excited, unexcited, excited, what's the word? Depressed, excited, depressed, because your heart says start that YouTube channel, start that podcast, but then the mind sees that it's not getting the results, and you start to not feel as if the wish is fulfilled. You actually start to feel bad because the outside world is not validating the vision that you have. So a skill set that I've learned is meditation, where I can actually start to feel as if it is done, even though the outside world says that, hey, it's not here yet. I can start to feel as if it's done, because when I close my eyes, my inside world becomes way more real than the outside world via my imagination. And I can start to imagine myself having 5,000 people watching my podcast. I could imagine myself touring, teaching men. I can imagine everything with my eyes closed, and become so real that my body can't tell if it's real or fake. And so in that moment, I start to feel as if the wish is fulfilled. And when I open my eyes, I make sure to maintain that feeling, and I do the action, and I do the content long enough. And then the outside world will begin to bend to you, because you have stayed consistent in the action backed with the feeling. And in those moments when the times are getting tough, when it's uncertain, meditation is a skill that I use every single day, something I needed to do right before this call, to get my feelings back in place. That way I can begin to act in a certain way and be consistent and deliver a quality of content that's still in congruence with the vision that I have. I have the vision, right? This is the action part, right? My body is in here doing this podcast with you. Your body's out there, and it's starting to start the new job, and it's moving to a new city, and you're starting new things, and you're getting into a new relationship, or you're having more dates with girls, right? Your body's moving into it, but then your heart's not there. Let's just say you start to go on a date with a more attractive woman. Let's just say the quality of girls that you want are going to be more attractive, right? Maybe they are, maybe they're more model type girls. And consciously, you want the model type girls to start dating, or a model type girlfriend. But then when you meet her, you still feel a little bit nervous or intimidated by her, because your heart wasn't there. You're not feeling as if the wish is fulfilled. You need to have that confidence. Well, via meditation, you can have the goal of having multiple dates with a girl, or having one girlfriend, or dating models, whatever it is that you want, man. You can have that, but via a meditation, you can start to feel as if the wish is fulfilled, feel as if it is done. That way, when you move into the action, you're moving with a certain energy, moving with a certain charisma. And that comes from that ability to meditate. And on the next episode, we'll dive deeper into this electrical magnetic system here. But this video was all about talking about how to move in a time of uncertainty. How to feel certain in your heart, despite what the outside world is saying to you. And that is a very tough thing. And as a man, you got to step up and move to the next layer. Understand, is it time for you to move to the next layer of the onion and become closer to your vision? And when you move to that vision and you move to that next layer, don't retreat back to what's known. Don't retreat back to what you think you want, or what you're used to, or what your mind's saying you should go back to. Don't retreat. Move forward and have faith that you're not failing. You're actually in a state of creating something brand new for the first time. It's unknown. It's uncertain. You could be terrified, but that's okay. As a man, we have to be able to go into the wilderness, hunt the lion, bring it back to us, and become a better man as our skill sets start to develop, and God will take care of the rest. Let go, let God, keep acting, hold that vision, and God will reveal the vision for you, and he'll start to manifest the things that you've been looking for in your life. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show yet, make sure you subscribe to the show. If you're watching on Facebook, please come over to YouTube, because this is what we got to do. We're doing it on YouTube. Smash the like button. And then what we're going to do now, don't hop off the call yet. Do we have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? This is a great time to drop in the chat right now. If you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, you can drop in the chat, and I can actually see it right here because I'm actually streaming from another software that allows me to see both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So go ahead. If you have any questions about what I taught about today, or if you have a specific question tailored to you, the results that you're looking for, this is a great time for me to answer it for you. Does anybody have any questions? All right, no questions. So without further ado, guys, this was episode 11 of The Saxon Show. I'll be live again on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, teaching you the next level on how you can become a better man each and every single day. Bro, I'll follow you on the journey. I'll see you next time. Take care.